It was the next day, and the goblins threw a full bucket of water to wake the elven lady Kasana up because Lin was going to come there soon. As soon as the lady woke up and gained some consciousness, Lin came from behind and grabbed the elf lady by her mouth. The goblin minions started telling their boss that they left the female elf just for him, while Lin was thinking that the body fluids of goblins have special effects on female creatures, such as paralysis and excitement. If you are also getting excited for the series, hit the subscribe button and leave a like, as this supports the channel a lot. The chance of winning against the matriarchal elves was even higher if Lin used the body fluids of the goblins, but Kasana was not ready to give up. She started screaming in a voice that she can muster, telling Lin that they were despicable people. The lady was not able to comprehend about how the goblins dared to kidnap the princess and even tried to attack the elven tribe. Hearing this, Lin immediately grabbed the mouth of the elven lady forcefully, but she still kept going on that it was due to their kind clan mother that the goblins were still alive, or they would have been wiped out long ago by all the elven tribe. She started telling him that if he dared to touch even a hair of the lady's head, then her mother will not let it go. But hearing this, Lin started smiling as he threw the elven girl onto the ground once again. Lin told everyone that the spirit inside the mouth of the elven girls seems to be different from the spirit inside the mouth of the goblins, and even when his goblin minions were stupid, they were not daring enough to lie to our boy. But the princess was doing so. Lin started telling the princess that the elves can obviously eradicate all the goblins in the forest, but there are so many goblins living in the jungle, and it was not merely because of kindness from the elven clan mother. Lin decided to say no more about why this situation happened, but he decided that he will take the goblin tribe to find out on the same night. Lin told the other two minions that they should go and eat the other two elves separately and devour their skills while they can. Hearing this shocked the elven princess, but she can't do anything. Lin immediately turned towards the girl, thinking about what he should do with the brat. Lin started coming towards the helpless girl as she started screaming that whatever Lin planned, he will not be spared. But all we can hear are the screams of the desperate girl who cannot do anything. The notification popped up congratulating Lin on getting the level cap of 30, and since the qualification has reached the highest level, the experience was converted into health value of 50, along with strength and defense of 10. Lin has also acquired the elf skill Stealth along with the elf skill of Night Vision. As the scene shifts, it was the night, and we come to the elven tribe treehouse, where some male elves were moaning, while telling the clan mother that they cannot do it anymore. Hearing that, the elven mother smiled, telling them that it was enough, and they were already out of potions, so they can't hold it any longer. We see that the clan mother was a little disappointed, telling the male elf that it was really heartbreaking, because if she knew that this would happen, then she would have caught more goblins last time. After all the deeds were done and multiple elven males were left stranded onto the bed, the clan mother turned towards his guard, asking about why Kasana was not back yet. The guard immediately told the clan mother that the princess has been gone for some time and she was not back when she should be back long ago. The guard asked the clan mother if she wanted to send some people to see if they can kill more goblins and raise the level of the warriors in the tribe. Hearing this, the clan mother tapped her head while ordering the guard that it was up to him to take some warriors to the goblin tribe and support the elven princess in whatever way they can. But suddenly, they heard someone telling them in an evil voice that their elven princess will not come back home today. The guard was immediately ready with his sword almost unsheathed as he asked about who dared to come in the clan mother's room without permission. But before he can even see, the guard was immediately shot by multiple arrows of the goblins and was immediately dropped onto the ground. Meanwhile, the clan mother was easily able to stop the arrow that was shot at her by her hand, but it was of no use because Lin and the other goblins have already entered inside the room while telling the clan mother that their elven princess has been captured by the goblins and she will soon bear the child of our boy Lin. And due to this, the goblin tribe and the elven tribe were now the part of a family. The clan mother was snapped into anger as she heard this, while she immediately took out the sword behind the hilt and asked our boy Lin about what he did to the elven princess, but Lin was still smiling, pretending to not hear the question of the clan mother. Seeing this angered the elven clan mother even more, while she screamed that she is going to kill our boy Lin, and immediately jumped towards him with insane speeds, but what Lin said in the next line shocked the lady to the core. Lin informed her that her whole tribe was now getting murdered and tortured, so the clan mother should surrender obediently, and then Lin would consider treating her pretty well, but suddenly, as the clan mother attacked our boy, she stopped moving and cannot comprehend about what happened to her body. She was laying down onto the ground with her back on the top as Lin informed her with a devilish smile that the arrow she caught just now had goblin's body fluids inside of it, and once it comes in contact, the body will be paralyzed quickly. So now Lin wanted the clan mother to be a little more honest and cooperate. Even when the elven clan mother did not want to do it, she had to do it because of her condition. Lin immediately grabbed the lady, showing interest in her, talking about upgrading tools and making stimulating drugs. Lin had already realized that the elves have always used the goblins in this way, but he started mocking the lady, telling her that even she could not expect that one day the goblins will come to the elves to settle the accounts. Lin immediately put out his sword onto the neck of the elven lady to threaten her, while she was thinking that this goblin must be the new leader of the tribe that Kasana was talking about. But suddenly, the elven mother can hear multiple cries of pain and agony, along with the cries for help, as she asked Lin about what was happening, but he just smiled, telling the lady that the elven tribe was getting treated in the same way as the goblin tribe. Finally, Lin grabbed the lady and got him near the window, telling her that they should talk about cooperation when they had the time. The clan mother was now shocked to the core as she saw the massacre that the goblins were doing with the innocent elven tribe members, while they were screaming in pain and agony for the clan mother to save them because they did not want to be taken away or being killed by the goblins. The elven mother was really angry as she asked our boy Lin about what he had done to the elven tribe, but our boy just became Thanos and told the lady that he was maintaining the balance like everything should be in the world, and now the strength of the goblins was no weaker than that of the elves, and the elven clan mother will have no ability to resist. Lin started explaining with a serious face that when the elven tribe was strong, they slaughtered the goblins mercilessly. So now that the goblins were strong, they will naturally come and take revenge. Lin was pretty surprised that the clan mother was not able to grasp this concept of reality. Lin immediately came closer to the lady, telling her that he needed more and stronger goblin warriors, so he still needed the lady for this act. He immediately took out a knife and put it on her neck, telling the clan mother that what happened to the elven tribe depended on the attitude of their clan mother. It was as if seeing all the pain and agony along with the cries for help broke the elven mother from inside, as she was down there, sitting on the ground like a shocked statue. She knew that she can do nothing, but just begged to our boy Lin, because as long as he did not kill the children of the tribe, it was all good, and the clan mother was ready to do everything that she can. But finally, she said it, that she was willing to take the seed of our boy and to give birth to his children. Near the goblin settlement camp, we see that multiple tents were prepared, and Kasana was hugging her mother while crying, telling her that if even the clan mother was captured by goblins, then what can they do in the future? But the mother said sorry to her daughter. From now on, it can only be in the goblin tribe. Hearing that, Kasana started crying more, but Lin was looking at everything from outside the jail, while telling the mother-daughter duo to just stay inside and wait for the birth to happen. Lin told them that he will arrange 3 meals in a day for them. And if the elves messed up their mind, then it was not Lin's fault for killing them mercilessly. The clan mother was hearing everything and agreed without any condition, but she had a request. Lin decided to listen to the request, and the clan mother told him that even when they were not pure elves, the children they were giving birth to were still elves, so the clan mother wanted to take care of them herself. All 3 of them looked at Gabu, who was happily playing with the kids who were elven. Lin guessed that the clan mother was doing this due to her attribute of endless love. Lin turns towards Gabu, telling her to give the elven kids to the clan mother to take care of them. He started thinking that when the elven kids grow up, they also bring power to the tribe that cannot be underestimated. He decided to take a look at his stat. The system congratulated Lin for getting an upgrade, and his health stat increased by 200, strength by 30, and defense also by 30. Lin wondered if his upgrade has been unlocked to the highest level and realized that the recently obtained values were directly converted into attributes and not experience. Lin started smiling as he realized that in the future, they only needed strong women to have children and directly enhance their strength. The current strength was already enough to crush Captain Loader, so Lin decided that after the elves gave birth to their children, he will find the opportunity to meet the brat. As the scene shifts to half a month later, we see that the elves were still locked up, while the goblins were guarding all of them. One of the elves gave birth to her child, but as soon as she saw him, she found it really disgusting. She immediately told everyone that she did not want this kind of child because it was completely terrible. Lin was looking at everything along with Gabu while he asked his wife about the number of newborns in the tribe. The lady replied that there should be 30 or 40 of them now, but suddenly everyone heard that Kasana was screaming loudly in pain and agony. Lin immediately turned around and saw that the clan mother was helping her give birth to the child, and even when she wanted to give up, the mother encouraged her. She immediately turned towards Lin, telling him that this was Kasana's first time giving birth, so she seems to be not able to handle this pain. And as he came closer and knelt down, Gabu grabbed her legs. Seeing this, Kasana did not want Lin to come closer, but Lin immediately scolded her, telling her that they were his children too. And with the help of all 3 of them, Kasana was able to give birth to her child. After saving both the mother and the child, Gabu was impressed by Lin, telling him that he was really powerful. Both Kasana and the clan mother were relieved after giving birth, but suddenly they heard an elf crying for help. And as Lin turned around, he saw that two goblins with an elf once again, because according to them, she was ready to be used again. But suddenly, one of them was stabbed straight up in his stomach by none other than our boy, while he told the other one that if they broke the rule about the mother being able to rest and fully recover before breeding, then they are straight up disobeying Lin, and they were going to die due to it. Lin decided that from now on, each elf will be given one more fruit than usual, and the other goblin was trembling in fear by the death of his partner in crime. The clan mother noticed something and told Lin that he seemed to be really different from the ordinary goblins, but Lin ignored everything, telling the clan mother that as long as the elf was more honest, they will be treated better. We see that the goblin simulator started running and the current plot was captive elves. It told Lin that after his hard work, he captured the elven tribe and fertilized all the females. After the elves become pregnant, they will give birth to a goblin with stronger attributes than normal. Seeing that the tribe members were about to expand, Lin decided to seek revenge on Loder and the others, and he sneaked into the human town alone and successfully found the whereabouts of the Blade Warrior. Now the system gave Lin 3 options. The first one was to take it upon himself and try to kill Loder and the others, which had the rating of 50. The second option was to lead the goblins to take revenge and cause a massacre inside the town, which had the rating of 30. The third and last option was to just wait and see what happens, because if Lin thought that the time was not right, he should keep observing for a while, and this option had the rating of 10. They started wondering if they can even find the Loder so soon. Even when his current strength was comparable to that of Loder, the strength of his associates cannot be underestimated. But Lin knew that with his current attributes, he should be able to kill Loder very easily. He taps at the first option and the simulation starts. It told Lin that he found the opportunity when Loder was alone and he chose to attack decisively. Loder was caught off guard and was almost killed, but at this moment his master, the human swordsman called the Sword Saint, appeared in front of them. She rescued Loder and Lin died tragically under her sword. Soon, Loder's brave group returned to the capital and never appeared again. The summary of the simulation was that facing the powerful Sword Saint gave Lin no chance of escaping, so he had to be careful. Lin was shocked to see that the Sword Saint was appearing in such a small town, and he did not even expect that Loder and the others would leave the town, because once they left, it would be really difficult to find them. Lin realized that he will have to hurry up if he wanted to take the revenge. As he turned around, he saw that Gabu was giving the fruits to the clan mother. Lin came towards his wife with an idea, telling her that he was going to visit the human territory in the past few days, and he knew that, except for Lin, the warriors in the tribe will listen to Gabu the most, so he decided to leave the tribe for Gabu to manage in the past few days. Gabu was shocked to hear this while the clan mother started shouting at Lin, telling him that if he goes to the human territory and got discovered by humans, he will definitely be killed. But Lin informed the clan mother that he had a grudge against humanity, and he had to take revenge no matter what. But if Lin was so hung up with going to the human territory, the clan mother wanted to help him by using the stealth skill that she had so that Lin won't get discovered by the humans. Lin smiled while thinking that he was waiting to be discovered by the humans, but he told the clan mother that he did not expect her to still care about our boy after going through all of this. But the clan mother calmly told Lin that she was just afraid that after our boy died, the goblins in the tribe would be crueler to the elven tribe, and her children were all in the goblin tribe. So only when Lin came back safely, everyone would be safe. Hearing everything, Lin realized that the clan mother knew how to survive. After using stealth, Lin started to go towards the human territory, while Gabu told him from behind that she will take care of the tribe with all her might, and the clan mother was smiling. Lin told Gabu that he was not going to get milk, so he will get back pretty soon. Lin got to the Guangming town where multiple soldiers were walking onto the roads, patrolling the whole town. But we see that in the dark corner, Lin was hiding from everyone while observing everything, thinking that the patrols had become so tight, and the city defense was at peak. He wondered if the Sword Saint has already arrived in the town, but Lin was looking for news about her for a long time, but he was not able to hear anything related to her, and it was really strange for him. As the scene shifts, Lin came to a circular area inside the town, where multiple people were sitting around a fountain. As he turned around, he saw that multiple humans were gathered and reading a poster of some kind. It was the Humans Adventure Team ranking, which stated that the Blade Warriors were at the Platinum level. After looking at the ranking, Lin wondered if Loder has become stronger again because he was actually ranked first in the whole Adventures list. Lin started going away from the crowd while thinking that he had to find more clues about him. Otherwise, his revenge plan will come to nothing. As the scene shifts, Lin came near a big house where someone was loudly laughing and screaming that he was going to treat someone today, and they should all have a drink. Lin immediately stopped after listening to this voice as he smiled and knew that he had finally found Loder. Lin immediately got inside the building, which was an adventurer's inn, where Loder was drinking like there would be no tomorrow. I guess that's true. Someone was telling him the story about how he was almost beaten to death by a four-handed demon ape at the time. But fortunately, Captain Loader arrived in time and saved his life. The girl also told him that the leader dealt with the demon, otherwise they would not be able to defeat the creature by themselves. But suddenly, a member from another group came and started making fun of the Blade Warriors. This angered the drunk man who wanted the outsider to go and get out of the place. But both of them were drunk, and they decided to fight among themselves instead, taunting one another into fighting like a man. Everyone was looking at the commotion while the bartender told both of them that recently, an evil dragon on Long Island has reached its breeding season and kidnapped multiple livestock and ate all the humans that it found. The bartender wanted both of them to just go and kill the dragon. If they were feeling this enthusiastic about their achievements, Lin was shocked by the mention of a dragon, and the bartender told everyone that if the evil dragon comes to the town and attacks people, the royal capital would not be able to provide support on the right time. The bartender knew that even if all the adventurers in the town fight with a group of dragon, they cannot withstand their might, and darkness would definitely come to their town. But Captain Loader was as arrogant as ever, while he told everyone that they were just a few dragons and it should not be something which should be feared. Loader told everyone that he did not have to hide it anymore, so he was telling everyone that the Sword Saint was already on her way towards the town. The Sword Saint was Loader's master, and once she comes and joins them in slaying the dragon, there would be no need for the king to send troops. When the matter would be resolved, and the whole group will return to the capital along with the saint. The whole place was shocked by hearing that Captain Loader has even invited the Sword Saint. Multiple people thought that he was just bragging, but some of them thought that with the saint being in charge, they do not have to be afraid of confronting the evil dragon and its group. And if this succeeds this time, then Loader will be the great hero in the whole town. Loader informed everyone that today he invited all the warriors to drink as a way for celebrating the arrival of the Sword Saint and the success of slaying the dragon in advance. Lin stood up and gave a coin to the bartender. While thinking that the evil dragon was going to attack the town, he had to seize this opportunity without fail. But seeing that Lin was going out, the unknowing captain asked him to stay and enjoy a few drinks with him. By hearing this, our boy smiled, while declining this offer, telling Loader that there would be multiple times for drinking. The captain was pretty annoyed by this behavior of our boy. As the scene shifts, we see that the whole town prepared for welcoming the Sword Saint. While Loader got inside a castle and saw a lady with pretty long hair, addressing her as master and telling her that these days an evil dragon has been wandering around and getting closer to the people in town. No one even dares to get out of their houses, and the troops cannot wait for the dragon to attack the town. The lady immediately turned around, and the captain got onto his knees. We see a lady with beautiful hair and a heavy armor which covered her slender body, while she asked Loader about if he did whatever the lady asked him to do. Loader informed the lady that 10 dragon hunting crossbows had been made according to the drawings given by the lady, and they were being deployed at various high points in the town. The saint told the captain to arrange the crossbows well, otherwise, none of them would be able to make any difference, and it would be the lady's shame to bear. As the lady came near the window, the people were still cheering for her, not able to believe at the beauty of the lady. The lady immediately told Loader to evacuate everyone present there because it was dangerous. After some time, the town fell into chaos as everyone saw a crimson red dragon descending upon the humans and catching its prey with his long legs. The saint was ready along with Loader to finally have a face-to-face with the crimson dragon. She ordered Loader to take his companions and go up the city wall. As the scene shifts, a goblin came running towards Lin, telling him that the dragon was coming and there were many soldiers on the city wall, but suddenly he was stopped by our boy, while he told all the goblins to just wait and enjoy the show. The army of Wyvern was ready to attack the whole human town from above the skies, but suddenly, one of them was attacked by a beam, which pierced the chest of the creature without missing its mark. Both Freya and Loader were shocked to see this marksmanship. As they turned around, they saw that it was Loader's master, the Sword Saintess, who was trying to explain to his soldier about how the dragon-hunting crossbow worked. After giving the practical to the soldier, the lady immediately told them to go to their dragon-hunting crossbow and get ready to defend the town. Finally, they ran towards their weapon and started filling it up, and after a few seconds, all the weapons in the whole town were done preparing. It was as if a massacre was happening and multiple dragons were shot down by the dragon-hunting crossbow as they started falling onto the ground. One of these soldiers was happy that they got the dragon-hunting crossbow because it was so powerful, but another one was really worried, as he saw that another army of dragons, which was far larger than the first one, they started appearing from the thunder clouds, which engulfed the whole town. The thunder strikes were in the air, but the one who was in shock was the soldiers, as they looked at the sheer number of dragons coming to invade their town. Freya and Loader were together as they were not able to comprehend about what they got themselves into. Finally, they realized that the whole army was led by a thunder dragon mother, who who was much larger and dangerous than the whole army. Even the soldiers were now ready to evacuate as they were quickly getting ready to run. The whole town knew that the dragon-hunting crossbows were not meant to hurt this thunder dragon. It was as if fear stuck their minds as they realized that their dragon-hunting weapon was not meant to be hunting dragons. Suddenly, the dragon saw the whole soldier group, and it started attacking the borders of the town by a large beam of fire. All the soldiers started evacuating the area of effect, knowing for sure that the city is about to fall by the hands of the dragons, but suddenly, the soldiers heard the Sword Saint as she told everyone to not panic at all, because she was going to deal with the Thunder Dragon Mother, but she still wanted all the soldiers to defend the city. She opened a type of portal from the ground and materialized a legendary sword from inside. The dragon started attacking the city by fireballs. But then they realized that the whole city was protected by a blue barrier kind of thing. We see that Lin was observing everything from a distance, and he was surprised that the barrier withstood the attack done by the Thunder Dragon Mother, because that being was a level 79 ancient dragon who had the title of Queen of Dragon Island. The Thunder Dragon had the health of 4,100, along with strength of 510 and defense of 580. She got the skills of the Dragon Flame along with Demi-Humanization, Dragon Roar, and Ancient Call. Even Lin realized that this dragon was an absolute monster in every way, but as Lin started appraising the Sword Saint, he came to know that she was a level 80 Sword Master, who was the strongest swordsman and dragon-slaying hero, with a health of 1,700, along with strength of 690 and defense of 700. She got Sword Chi, Fusion of Man and Sword, Iron Gale, Splitting Stars and Moon, Swords Reincarnation, and Ancient Sword Intent. All in all, the Sword Santis was more powerful than the Dragon Mother. She started jumping towards the leader with the intention of killing her. The Santis landed onto the wings of the Thunder Dragon, as she used her sword to immediately pierce through one of her wings. Observing this, Lin realized that even when the Dragon Mother was a little weaker than the lady, she was still holding up because of her high health points. He knew that this fight was going to go on for a while. Suddenly, as Lin looked up, he saw that the Thunder Dragon Mother took the Sword Saint with her to another place for fighting. He realized that this was an excellent time for him because the opportunity to take revenge on humanity has come. He decided to go to the city, and as planned, they will split into groups, and one group of people will cause a commotion with the humans, while the other group of goblins can ambush Loader and take revenge. Hearing the plan, the whole goblin army agreed, and they started going towards the entrance of the city. As the scene shifts, we see that the smaller dragons were still wreaking havoc everywhere, and the soldiers were trying to protect the people. We see that Loader was fighting with one dragon at a time, thinking that these flying dragons were too difficult to deal with. But still, these beasts are still beasts, and they did not have human intelligence, and thanks to his master this time, Loader has also become a brave dragon slayer. But suddenly, someone from behind came running towards the man, telling him that the goblins were invading the city. In the midst of the dragon crisis, Loader was shocked to the core as he turned around and saw that dragons were still attacking the civilians, and he had got another problem to deal with now. He turned towards the man, while telling him to not dare and play tricks on Loader. But when the man insisted, Loader wondered about how the stupid goblins came to invade the city in the time of such a crisis. Suddenly, Loader heard a scream of help, and as he turned around, he saw that a goblin was chasing a young girl and was causing a commotion. The man started clenching his teeth, not able to understand about what was happening. Somehow, these soldiers were able to defend themselves from the dragon by using some huge shields. So Loader started analyzing the situation and realized that there were not many small dragons left in the city. He told the soldiers to hold on to their shields and defend the city, while Freya will come with him and deal with goblins. Agreeing to the command of their general, the soldiers kept on defending the city, while Freya and Loader started running towards the goblin. But this time, these creatures were not stupid as they were waiting for Freya and Loader to come to a spot. Freya was a little smart and understood that Loader should not run, as it may be an ambush. But we see that inside the manhole, there was a goblin who was hiding from everyone to pull a surprise attack onto the general. Finally, Lin commanded the goblins to take action, and then Loader realized that he was running to hell. All the goblins captured Freya, while the goblin from the manhole attacked Loader with all his might and damaged his leg. The man was now not able to walk, and the goblins surrounded him. He was not able to comprehend about how both him and the lady can get caught by goblins, and the sheer number of these many goblins was really surprising to him. The soldiers saw that Loader was now in the grasp of the goblin army, but suddenly, even they were surrounded by the goblins, and the soldiers were going to get a not-so-pleasant surprise. We see that a pair of crimson eyes were coming closer to the soldiers, and Loader screamed at his soldiers to watch their backs. But before they can process anything, Lin cut their brains into half by just a clean shot. Both Freya and Loader were shocked to see the mercilessness of our boy Lin as he came closer to them. while he was laughing, telling Loder that he did not expect even in his dream that you will get to catch both Loder and Freya in just one go. The arrogant Loder still thought that everything was under his control while he started abusing the goblin leader, threatening to kill her, but it was getting annoying for our boy to still look at the face of the arrogant Loder. He immediately kicked the man straight up onto his face, while telling him to first observe the situation before daring to speak. Lin came closer to Loder as the goblin started tying Freya by a strong rope. Our boy ordered his army to take the two people out of the city with the help of the sewers, while he wanted others to follow him to the city wall and kill all the soldiers who were handling the dragon-slaying crossbow. The whole goblin army agreed to what Lin was saying and started transporting the arrogant couple. As the saying shifts, we see that the Sword Saint heard whatever was going inside the city, but she was a bit busy with the matter in her hand. She immediately realized that it was the goblins who dared to plan a sneak attack at the time of the crisis. But noticing this, the Thunder Dragon Mother told the lady that they were running out of time to take care of themselves. As we get a closer look, we see that the Thunder Dragon Mother transformed into a really curvy human as she was fighting with the Sword Saint with all her might. The Dragon Mommy launched herself into the air, her body crackling with an aura of immense power. Her eyes burned with a fierce determination as she prepared to deliver a devastating blow to the Sword Saint who stood calmly before her. If you also like the Dragon Mommy, then hit the subscribe button and leave a like as it supports the channel a lot. The Sword Saint, a figure of legendary prowess, met her gaze with an unyielding stare, a slight smirk playing on her lips. "Worried, are you?" she taunted, her voice dripping with cold confidence. "Let's see just how much dragon blood you really have." As the Dragon Mommy surged forward, the Sword Saint's hand moved with blinding speed. Her sword, an extension of her very being, was unsheathed in a single fluid motion. Without hesitation, she unleashed her ultimate technique, Eel Gale Cuts. The Dragon Mommy, sensing the deadly threat, instinctively raised her arms to protect herself. Her teeth clenched tightly as she braced for impact, the force of the attack slamming into her with the power of a tempest. The ground beneath her cracked and splintered under the pressure, but she held firm, managing to block the onslaught just in time. Her breath came in ragged gasps, but she stood defiant, her eyes locked on the Sword Saint. The Sword Saint, seeing her opponent's resolve, remained unfazed. Her gaze was calm, almost serene as she assessed the situation. In her mind, the battle was nearly won. She had to deal with the Dragon Mommy, but her thoughts drifted momentarily to Loder, and whether he had already taken care of the dragons and goblins. Her moment of reflection was abruptly shattered by a thunderous explosion that rocked the city behind her, sending several knights hurtling through the air like ragdolls. Startled, the Sword Saint turned her head to see smoke and flames billowing from the heart of the city. Confusion flickered across her face as she realized that the situation was far from over. The riot she thought was contained was escalating rapidly. Meanwhile, the Dragon Mommy, sensing the shift in momentum, began to rise, her expression twisting into a grin as she saw the goblins arriving at the perfect moment. With the Sword Saint momentarily distracted, the Dragon Mommy seized the opportunity. Her form began to glow as she transformed into pure energy, using the last of her strength to escape. "Goodbye," she taunted, her voice echoing as she soared into the sky, fleeing from the battlefield. The Sword Saint, now fully surrounded by her own powerful aura, turned back just in time to see her adversary escaping into the night sky. Realization dawned on her that this was not just a minor setback. It was a significant failure. Frustration and anger surged within her as she wiped a trickle of blood from her mouth, her eyes narrowing into a glare. "Just you wait," she muttered under her breath, her voice laced with a promise of vengeance. "I'll follow you to Dragon Island, and I'll wipe out every last one of your kind." As the hours passed, the city sank into darkness. The Sword Saint, her resolve as strong as steel, returned to the streets where the remnants of the battle still lingered. The air was thick with the scent of blood and smoke as she cut down the remaining goblins that dared to cross her path. "Where is Loder?" she asked, her voice cold and steady. The knights, battered and bruised, looked up at her with a mixture of fear and admiration. Loder and Ephraim had been captured by the goblins. The Sword Saint's eyes flashed with fury, her teeth grinding together in anger. She couldn't comprehend how this had happened. The city was strewn with the bodies of fallen knights, a testament to the ferocity of the goblin attack. "These goblins," the knight continued, "they're unlike anything we've ever faced. Their strength. It's like they're a whole different species. Not even Loder could defeat them." The Sword Saint fell silent, her gaze dropping to the blood-stained ground. The weight of the situation pressed heavily on her shoulders. With a determined glint in her eyes, she made her decision. She would march into the haunted forests and annihilate every last goblin tribe. No one would be spared. But just as she prepared to leave, the woman beside the wounded knight grabbed her arm, her eyes wide with desperation. "Please," the woman pleaded, her voice breaking with fear. "Don't go. If you leave, who will protect us?" "The goblins," It might come back. The sword sank paused, her resolve wavering. The townspeople began to gather around her, their faces pale with fear and exhaustion. One by one, they knelt before her, their eyes filled with hope and despair. "We're from the town, from the Empire," they explained, their voices trembling. "Please, stay with us. Protect us." The sword saint stared at the ground, lost in thought. These people were right. As much as she wanted to rescue Loder and Ephraia, her duty was to protect the innocent lives before her. If Loder was captured, it was because he wasn't strong enough to prevail. She would ask for help from the royal family. They could spare troops to deal with the goblins while she remained here to defend the city. Meanwhile, in the distant goblin tribe, life continued as usual. The goblins and elves carried out their daily tasks, oblivious to the turmoil in the city. Suddenly, the quiet was broken by the excited cries of little goblins, who ran through the village announcing the return of their leader. Lin and his group had returned, bringing with them 2 human captives, Ephraia and Loder. The captives were bound by their hands, their expressions grim as they were led into the heart of the tribe. The goblins and elves gathered around, curious about the new prisoners. Ephraia was unceremoniously thrown to the ground, landing hard on her side before being dragged to sit beside a large rock where Loder was already seated. The goblin leader, wearing a crest that signified his rank, turned his back on them, issuing orders to his followers to behave themselves. He watched as the leader approached an elf, scolding her harshly. "These goblins," Loder muttered to Ephraia, his voice low and filled with disdain. "They even keep elves as captives. They're more organized than we thought." Ephraia, her breath coming in labored pants, blushed slightly as she listened to him. Despite the dire situation, she managed a weak smile. "There might be a hero among them," she whispered, her voice strained but hopeful. Concerned, Loder leaned closer, his expression softening. "Are you feeling any better?" he asked, his voice filled with genuine worry. In response, Ephraia clasped her hands together, closing her eyes as she concentrated. Slowly, a golden energy began to shimmer around her body, a sign of her innate power at work. "The poison," she murmured. "It's strong, but my body, it just needs a little more time." At that moment, Lin appeared, his hands casually tucked into his trouser pockets. A smug smile spread across his face as he observed Ephraia's recovery. "Impressive," he said, his tone laced with sarcasm. "To think the poison would lose its effect so quickly. Your resilience is truly something to admire, Ephraia." She opened her eyes and fear gripped her, making her tremble uncontrollably. Loder's eyes were filled with hatred as he glared at Lin, but before anything could happen, a goblin appeared, seizing Loder by the arm and placing its other hand on his head. Meanwhile, Lin grabbed Ephraia by the leg, causing her to panic. She tried to pull away, commanding to know how he knew her name and what he intended to do. Lin's smile only grew wider as he taunted her, asking if she truly wanted to know his plans. With a malicious grin, he dug his sharp nails into her leg, making her scream in agony. Lin relished in her pain, savoring the moment. Loder, helpless nearby, tried to intervene, but the goblin held him back. Loder's anger boiled over as he shouted at Lin to stop, but the goblin struck him hard across the face, ordering him to be silent in front of their boss. The force of the blow knocked Loder to the ground. As he struggled to get up, Lin finally withdrew his nails from Ephraia's leg. Glaring at Lin with contempt, Loder realized he was dealing with a highly intelligent goblin. He warned Lin of the consequences of capturing them, reminding him of the Sword Saint's power, which could wipe out the entire goblin tribe in one strike. But Lin only smiled calmly, revealing that the Sword Saint was also on his list of prey, though the time for that had not yet come. He had already taken measures to cover their tracks, ensuring that no one, not even the Sword Saint, could find them. Standing up, Lin wiped his hand with a handkerchief and instructed the goblin to send the younger goblins to hunt more monsters in the forest. While Ephraia writhed in pain on the ground, the goblin bowed before Lin, acknowledging his command. Lin then placed his foot on Loder's chest, warning him that he was about to ask some questions and that Loder had better answer them or else he might lose a part of his body. Loder gritted his teeth, realizing the danger he was in. As Lin leaned down, his body radiating a menacing aura, he unsheathed a dagger and demanded to know if humans enjoyed secretly imprisoning and torturing goblins. Panicked, Loder stammered in denial, insisting that Lin was talking nonsense. But Lin, unimpressed with his slow response, swiftly sliced off Loder's ear. Loder clutched at his bleeding ear, writhing in pain, while Ephraia, trembling with fear, looked on helplessly. Lin, his expression cold, asked Loder if they truly believed their actions were for the sake of humanity or if they were simply trying to elevate their status as heroes. He accused Loder and Ephraia of slaughtering an entire goblin village, actions that had earned them praise among humans. Lin scoffed at the idea of saving humans, suggesting that it was easier for them to kill both humans and monsters alike to maintain their hero status. As Loder and Ephraia panicked, unsure of how a goblin could know so much about their deeds, Lin calmly placed a hand on his face and told them that the conversation was over. He revealed that unlike them, he didn't need to pretend to be righteous because he was inherently evil. He promised to teach them a lesson they wouldn't forget. Lin then turned his attention back to Ephraia, who blushed and called out to Loder for help. But Lin's intentions were clear, and he began to torment her further, causing tears to well up in her eyes. Loder, desperate and enraged, ordered Lin to stop, but two goblins restrained him, tying his arms. Lin cruelly reminded Ephraia of the words she had once spoken to him, telling her that this was just the beginning and that she should brace herself. He placed a hand on her shoulder, grabbed her by the neck, and with a sinister grin informed Loder that he was about to witness a show. As the goblins approached Ephraia, Lin stood back, his evil smile growing as he watched what was about to unfold. Loder was overcome with fear, knowing exactly what was going to happen next. As Ephraia lay helpless on the ground, the goblins began to tear off her clothes. It was a fine day in the goblin camp, and one of the goblins told the other one that it was now his turn to guard the woman captive. He even told the current guard that the leader wanted them to not treat the psycho woman that harsh and keep her alive. Hearing that, the guard started laughing, telling his subordinate that whatever the woman got was well-deserved for her. We see that Ephraia was now in tatters, her clothes were almost gone, revealing everything that should be hidden. Loder was looking at the woman in despair, telling her with a cracked voice that she must hold on or otherwise the goblins will have their way. On the lady, before he can speak any further, a goblin smashed his head onto the ground by its leg. But Ephraia slowly told Loder that she was fine. But just by hearing this much, the goblin guard immediately came up, telling the female captive to shut up. Both the elven clan mother and daughter were looking at this situation, realizing that Lin must be enemies with these two humans, so they are getting such harsh treatment. Even Kasana realized that the humans were in worse condition than them because at least the elves had fruit to eat. But suddenly, Gabu came in inside their camp with multiple apples, while telling the ladies that she heard Lin say before that he wanted to seek revenge from the humans, and this must be the reason why these two were treated in such a harsh way. The clan mother started remembering about the rule that Lin told her. If all of them did what he said, then they will be repaid with kindness. The lady understood that Lin was the most unique goblin that she had ever seen. Slowly but surely, the clan mother was getting mesmerized, and she really wanted to have something deep inside of her by our boy. She wants to be conquered by Lin of the Night and again get treated in a bad way. But Kasana was looking at the pathetic clan mother, telling her to stop having weird thoughts. As the scene shifts, we see that a goblin came towards Lin, telling him that the second-generation goblins who went out on hunting were back. But Lin was shocked by this, asking the goblins about why the group came back so early today. But as he turned around, he got greeted by a large, humongous goblin with a club resting onto his shoulders. This creature was a gob maniac of level 33, and even Lin was shocked by looking at his level. He guessed correctly that the second-generation goblins can break through level 30 and evolve into a large species really quickly, and even the gob maniac's attributes were almost catching up with Lin himself. But the question still stands about why did these goblins come back so early? Lin wondered if their hunting time was really spent well, but the goblin informed him that they have killed all the nearby monsters, so now they can only go to the west of the forest. But as they got to the west, they encountered several large goblins who were slaughtering their own kind from another tribe. Lin was shocked by this revelation, asking the gob maniac about which tribe of goblins resides in the west. The goblin informed their leader that they were called the bloodfang tribe of giant goblins, and each and every one of them was really, really huge, just like Lin's meat. The gob maniac even tried to team up with other goblins to look up for monsters, and then they found several tribes that have been attacked, and the attacker left bloody fang markings onto their bodies. But instead of getting fearful, Lin started smiling as a weird aura surrounded him. He found the big goblins interesting and thought that if he captured their leader and created a third generation of stronger goblins for them, his whole tribe would have a better chance of resisting the human race's suppression. But suddenly, Loder started smiling as he coughed and told Lin that he was just stupid for dreaming of conquering tribes when he was really about to die trying. Loder told our boy that no matter how powerful they become, his brother was a knight and the goblins would be defeated by him in just a matter of time. But Lin turned around with a really serious look on his face, telling Loder that if he did not speak any further, then he will be forgiven. But as Loder did not stop laughing, Lin immediately told the goblins that there was a human who did not get a proper treatment inside the tribe. Multiple goblins immediately gathered in front of Loder and started playing, or should I say torturing him. Loder was not able to comprehend about what was now going to happen to him after this. The goblins took turns one by one as some inspected Loder's mouth or some inspected some really delicate parts. The goblins were amused that even the males in the human species were having such tender skin and flesh. Even when Loder was getting harassed and tortured, he kept on screaming in annoyance that all the monsters in Lin's tribe would be eradicated by the knights of the city in just a matter of time. But Ephraim was smarter than Loder and just kept quiet because she knew about what was going to happen to her foolish subordinate. Just after a few hours, Loder was unconscious by the continuous playing of the goblins. It was the time of the night, and the whole goblin tribe was celebrating and roasting meat in an open fire, while Lin was sitting with both the clan mother and Gabu as the lady asked him if he was going to attack the bloodfang tribe next. Lin smiled as he told the ladies that he wanted to be the strongest, and for that he did not just want to attack the bloodfang tribe, but also to capture their leader. Lin was happy as he told the ladies that from now on, his tribe would be called the Tian tribe. Lin immediately announced this name, and all the second-generation goblins started cheering with one another, happy to know that now they have an identity of the tribe. The goblins started dancing and drinking while shouting the name of their tribe with pride. As Lin sat down and started eating, Gabu told him that there were so many tribes which seemed really powerful, so it was going to be difficult to attack and possibly capture their leaders. Lin grabbed the bite of the meat and told Gabu to not worry at all, because our boy still had one trump card that he was not using yet. As soon as we hear this, we get a close-up of Ephraim once again, who are still hanging by the chains like a dog, obediently following Lin's order. It was the next day, and Lin was already out in the fields, getting mesmerized by the view that he has got. We come to know that he has come to the Bloodfang tribe to see about what kind of strength they possessed. Our boy had come to the forest in the west, which was named the Enchantment Forest. He saw large buildings and realized that he was near the tribe. He thought that there were indeed big goblins there, but they should not be dumb enough to not solve the problem by talking. But suddenly, Lin saw that all the goblins of the tribe were really fearful, and suddenly, the leader of the Bloodfang tribe started coming out from a gate. Lin was shocked to see that their leader was a heroic species of goblin. We come to know that the leader was a Warhammer goblin of level 50 and had a huge amount of stats, which made him almost undefeated in the current situation by our boy. Lin gave off a nervous smile by looking at this new obstacle. Lin was looking at the leader of the Bloodfang tribe, who does not seem to be that powerful. Just with a combined combat power of 900, a dozen goblin warriors should be able to deal with the leader, but it was not really easy to catch him alive. Due to their sheer big size, the effect of toxins would really be less effective on them due to their huge body. And since the paralyzing toxin was not that effective, Lin started thinking of another way, and suddenly, his brain started having some evil thoughts. He realized that it would be great if Freya used the imprisonment technique that she used previously on Lin. Our boy knew that finally it was time for everyone to hit the subscribe button and leave like, as it supports the channel a lot. Finally, it was time for Lin to go and see Freya firsthand. We come to the goblin tribe of our boy, where we see that a goblin minion was telling Lin that if they followed his instructions anymore, the human female will soon be lifeless. Hearing that, Lin just smiled and saw the body of the lady. He looked at the lady in disdain while grabbing the container of water. He started coming near the lady, who was mumbling and telling everyone to kill her so that she can atone before the Lord, but Lin came closer to the lady, knelt down, and started wiping up her scars. She was feeling so warm that she wanted to know about who tended to her so greatly, but as soon as she opened her eyes, she saw that the tender was none other than the goblin himself. Freya started screaming with all her might, telling Lin to not come near her or harm her anymore. She was acting like a maniac, telling Lin that she was going crazy in pain because of him. But suddenly, Lin slapped the lady with a bang and clenched her waist towards him. Lin half-hugged her to cover her body, while telling her that her punishment was now over. As soon as Freya heard that, she started crying like a child, still asking Lin if this was really true. Lin told her that he always keeps his word, but Freya will have to choose a new belief if she wanted to escape. Lin smiled as he schemed the devil plan, while Freya asked him about what belief Lin was talking about. He told the lady that she must choose to believe in God, and then everything will be all right. But on the other hand, she had another option to just forget everything and believe in Lin. Our boy wanted the lady to become one of his pets, so that she can avoid suffering day after day and live a happy life. Hearing that, a sudden shift in behavior happened to the lady. Freya was acting like a hungry dog, licking each one of Lin's finger without any disgust. Our boy realized that his plan worked and immediately started consoling the lady, telling her that she did choose really wisely. Lin commanded the now-possessed lady that from now on, he was her only master, and he can call her whatever he wanted. The lady replied with a woof, agreeing to her new master. Lin immediately picked up the lady and started going towards the well full of fresh water. It was time for his new pet to take a bath properly. Freya called Lin as his lord, telling him that he was now so kind to her, and for that, the lady was willing to give everything up. The lady and Lin took a bath to freshen themselves up. While Freya was enjoying this new treatment, Lin started smiling while he remembered his previous life, where the same lady tortured him until she was satisfied and Lin was lifeless. But this was not going to happen again. Lin snapped back to the present, telling the lady that he wanted her to use the skill of Holy Light Cage in front of him. The The lady was already so traumatized that she forgot what the holy light cage was. She was asking her master about what that was, and Lin immediately grabbed a book which had everything written in it. Ephraia got some new clothes and came out of the water. Finally, she read the diary and immediately started chanting the spells which were written on it, and after some time, a large cage made up of holy light appeared in front of Lin and the lady. Lin commended his new pet for a job really well done, and finally, they start walking towards the cages where they kept their captives. One of them was Loder too, who saw that Ephraia was walking head-to-head with Lin. Loder was in complete shock as he immediately got near the fencing asking Ephraia if she had recovered. Loder wanted her to kill the goblin in the quickest way possible and use magic to restore the man's body quickly. Loder was smiling intently, knowing that he was now saved, but he was not aware of the reality. Lin immediately turned towards Loder, telling him that he was gravely mistaken and Ephraia had already willingly taken refuge in the goblin tribe. Loder thought that our boy was spouting utter nonsense, and he started screaming that there was no way that the daughter of the leader of the Holy Order can be domesticated and take refuge inside the goblin tribe. But Lin smiled at Loder's anger, telling Ephraia to demonstrate how lovable and faithful of a pet she was become. Hearing that, Ephraia started kneeling down near the legs of her new master and just acted the same like a dog, telling Lin and Loder that everything that she was doing was really voluntary, and no one has forced her to do so. Seeing that, Loder's face was of utter shock, not knowing about what to do. He was getting crazier by each passing second, saliva drooling all over from his mouth. He started laughing maniacally while telling Lin that his action is going to make the goblin race disappear from the whole world, and the meaning of Lin's existence is going to be slaughtered by the powerful human race. Loder was now completely snapped while he smiled and laughed with a large mouth, telling Lin that the Holy Order was going to kill them all. Lin was a little shocked to know that Ephraia was the daughter of the leader of the Holy Order. He even thanked Loder for telling them such important information. Our boy decided that he's going to reward the man well, so he told the gob maniacs to not let the guy rest for some time. One of the goblin minions told Lin to not worry at all, because he was ready to take care of Loder. Meanwhile, Lin smiled and knew that he had to go do his real business, so he wanted Ephraia to come together with him, hearing that the lady just followed our boy like an obedient pet to take down the bloodfang tribe. As the scene shifts, we come to the forest where the bloodfang tribe resides, and we come to know that even the chief of the bloodfang tribe was going to attack the tribe of our boy in a few moments, and all the preparations were ready. The huge and ugly goblins were attacking our boy because he had got all the elven females inside his tribe, and now the goblins of the bloodfang tribe were not getting to have any fun knowing the plan of the leader. All the minion goblins started hooting and screaming for cheering for their leader and his might, but this was not going to go for long. Another ugly goblin came running towards his leader, telling him that a goblin from another tribe broke inside their defenses and said that he was looking for the leader. Upon hearing this, the leader was shocked, asking the minion about which weakling was showing this stupidity by coming to the tribe. But even before the minion can answer, Lin started coming towards them while telling the leader that as our boy knew that the Fatso was a heroic goblin with intelligence close to a human, he wanted to talk to him. Lin had a devilish smile on his face, while the purple aura surrounded him all over. Looking at Lin, the tribe realized that he was pretty different than the others. The leader wanted to know if our boy was a mutant, but Lin replied that he was just a little smarter than any average goblin. But coming straight to the point, our boy gave a pretty good smile while telling the leader of the Bloodfang tribe that he was the leader of the teen tribe. He immediately declared that he was going to defeat the leader of the Bloodfang tribe and take all of his forces together with him. Suddenly, the smile on the face of our boy disappeared, and he told the goblins in a serious tone that they were having only two choices. They could either submit to the one or only Lin, or they can go to hell before their time comes. Guessing the name of the tribe, the minions realized that Lin was the leader of the tribe that was keeping all the elven females in captivity. Our boy got to the leader, telling him that he had got really good genes, and he can come with Lin without any type of massacre. But the Bloodfang tribe leader was full of stupid pride and ego. He called Lin an idiot on his face and was happy that our boy himself got inside his tribe because now he was going to finish the leader of the teen tribe and take the elven ladies for himself. The minion goblins, as dumb as ever, wanted their boss to kill Lin without any mercy and immediately grab all the elves for themselves. But suddenly, we see that even when our boy was grabbed by the goblin leader, he smiled while telling the leader that whatever he did was just a waste of words. Hearing this, the eyes of the leader goblin was red-shot, and Lin told the leader at that moment that if he didn't want to capture the leader alive, there was no need to waste so many words. But he still did it anyway. We see that Lin materialized his knife immediately and slashed the hand which was grabbing him in an instant. The red fluid was splattering all around the screen, and the hand was now lifeless without any movement in it. The leader was screaming in pain and agony as he told his minions to immediately grab Lin and gave him death on the spot. As soon as they heard it, all the ugly minions were ready to avenge their boss, but Lin was not finished. He disappeared right in front of the goblins, and suddenly a knife came towards one of them, straight onto their chest, damaging this creature in an instant. Lin teleported behind the ugly, long-nosed goblin in an instant, but it was not a teleportation. It was just the stealth skill that our boy acquired. All the goblins were shocked about how Lin did it so silently, but it was all due to the silent step skill. Finally, Lin stood up and told all his goblins to come out and attack the bloodfang tribe, and as soon as they heard it, all the minions of our boy used their silent step skill to approach the goblins and encircle them in a trap. The leader realized that Lin was negotiating from the start to just let the guard down. And now that this had happened, the leader has fallen into the scheme of our boy. The leader decided that there was nothing else to do except running, because due to his high speed, no one should be able to stop him. But it was evident for the leader that even if he was going to escape, he was first going to kill our boy, and that was his one and only mistake. And it was really his last mistake, because as soon as the ugly goblin started throwing a punch at our boy, we see that Lin called out to Ephraia, and from behind, the lady immediately used the holy light cage and trapped the goblin in just one go. The ugly goblin leader started grinding his teeth because he was not able to believe that Lin was having a mini plan inside his plan of his bigger plan, and as this cage was of a light attribute, goblins were not allowed to touch it. Immediately after imprisoning, Ephraia ran towards Lin and fell onto the lap of our boy as he smiled and told the lady pet that she was really well behaved like a cute puppy, and that he was going to give the lady a reward when he gets back. Just hearing the word of reward, it was as if the lady was hitting multiple bursts of happiness. I know what you were thinking, but that word can give me a strike too. She immediately wanted to go back to the tribe, but we see that Lin ordered his minions to grab the leader of the bloodfang tribe, who was bounded into the holy chains of light attribute. Even when the leader hated our boy Lin, this was a win-on-win situation for him because he had got the bloodfang leader in his tribe. Lin got back to his tribe after making multiple efforts to subdue the large and ugly goblins of the bloodfang tribe. He started cleaning his knife with a cloth as he knew that there was no immediate threat remaining. While Loder was looking at him, not able to believe that Lin was able to subdue such a huge beast by himself. Meanwhile, Lin told both Gabu and the elven clan mother that in the goblin month they should let the other goblins do the task of artificial insemination, so that they can make more stronger goblins with the ugly ones. Both the lady agreed to what Lin was saying, but they were shocked when they realized that they will have to take care of Ephraia too. Our boy got to the clan mother, telling her that he needed help in dressing up because he was going to be a friend. The clan mother was shocked, wondering about when Lin had made such a friend in the midst of these many battles. But Lin just smiled, telling the ladies that meeting his friend was really vital for the next thing he had planned. Lin realized that if whatever Loder said was true, that the human race's reinforcements should arrive in the human town soon, and with Lin's current strength he can still fight against some knights. But if he met the Sword Saint, then he will definitely die, and it will take our boy some time to cultivate the heroic goblins, so he needed to find a helper to help them hold back the Sword Saint. Lin realized that it was finally time for him to meet the purple gold dragon mother, but the place was at least 100 kilometers away from some stranded island. So Lin brought multiple bodies of large creatures, while thinking that the most convenient way to reach the island was to lead the dragon to the island itself. Hoping that his plan would work, Lin immediately got inside the carcass and waited for a dragon to come by because such a strong smell of blood from a body should quickly attract the flying dragon. And it was the same as Lin thought. A dragon came from the island by being attracted from all the blood and immediately took all the bodies with him to eat. But even Lin was hitchhiking the ride along with the dragon, and his plan was successful. As the scene shifts, we see the dragon soaring through the sky, and Lin was finally able to travel to the dragon island. The dragon immediately dropped down the bodies for their queen, and Lin landed into a dark cave. Once again, whatever Lin expected was true, and the dragon saved the food for the dragon mother, and his next task would be to find where she was. But suddenly, a really scary eye opened up behind Lin, shocking him to the core. The creature was telling him that something bad was really mixed up with the food, but the dragon immediately recognized Lin, telling him that he was the goblin leader who attacked the human town that day. But the dragon really wanted to know about what Lin was doing, sneaking up inside the dragon island. The dragon lady intimidated, telling him that she can eat him whenever she wanted, but still she wanted to know his agenda first. But even in front of a beast more than 100 times of himself, Lin confidently told the creature that he was there to discuss cooperation. Even the dragon mother was surprised by hearing this, at the mere fact that a small and puny goblin was ready to discuss something with a large and mighty dragon. The lady got interested and immediately started transforming back into her human form, and damn, I do not have to tell you anything about what I think. The lady decided that she will humor our boy, and if she finds that the plan is good enough, she will leave him unharmed. Lin was still serious, knowing that this could go the wrong way any second. He asked the lady if she wanted to take revenge on the Sword Saint. Lin proposed that they should join forces, and it would not be like how the last raid ended because the dragon lady got into trouble. Even the dragon mother was shocked by knowing that just a low-level monster was actually plotting against the Sword Saint. She actually got a bit interested and came closer to our boy, asking him for a plan to deal with the Sword Saint. And hearing that, Lin started explaining with a serious look that he needed the dragon lady to send dragon soldiers to harass the people in town from time to time. But suddenly, the lady grabbed Lin from his soldier and cutely came near his ears, asking him about what he was going to do and about how a group of little goblins were daring enough to attack that crazy Sword Saint. The dragon mother really wanted to know from Lin about what he was going to do. She started getting seductive, closely checking out our boy and his muscles, while Lin smiled, telling the dragon mother that to deal with someone like the Sword Saint, head-on confrontation was not enough. They will have to attack her heart, and killing her was the best way to defeat her. Hearing just the word of killing, the dragon lady gave off a devilish laugh. She told Lin that borrowing the goblin's strength to kill people without getting their names dirty was exactly what the dragon mother wanted, and this plan did not even harm the dragons in any way. Knowing that the negotiations were going smoothly, Lin asked the lady if this much explanation was enough, and even the lady was satisfied by this much. But suddenly, she grabbed Lin by his cheeks and immediately came closer to his lips. I think this lady will even approve to the plan about what Lin was thinking of doing with her. But anyways, the lady was really getting seductive, telling Lin that she did not expect anyone smart enough among the measly goblins, and the more she watched over Boy, the more she started liking him. She really wanted to give our boy some tasty reward, and I think this reward is something really physical. And that was it for today. I hope that you liked today's video, and if you did, hit that like button as today's goal is 1,500 likes. Comment part 13 down below for the next part. Also, consider subscribing with the notification bell on to get notified as soon as a new video drops onto the channel. You can also join the channel to support me financially and watch videos before public release. I'll meet you in the next video. Until then, thanks for watching.